I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. It is Saturday, September 20th, 2025. I really hope you're doing well and hope you have a good weekend ahead. Lots to cover here, especially as we get into the upcoming week. We have a couple tropical waves that will get very close, if not move into us in the Caribbean. And we're watching this. This is Gabrielle. It will become a hurricane. Kind of a reminder of how warm some of these water temperatures are through here, which I will show you. It is going to feed off of that. A close approach to Bermuda. We'll cover that. And then watching multiple tropical waves out here. Plus, I never want to lose sight of what's going on right now. And we are watching some heavy pockets of rain. We had some yesterday and last night. Parts of Jamaica, for example. This morning, I've been watching the Dominican Republic. Belize, really from about, say, Hopkins South through Punta Gorda. Watching out for some really heavy rain right in through here. I'll be watching your comments. Thank you for putting your comments, taking the time to subscribe, adding likes to the videos. I know that takes a moment of your time, but it does help to spread the video. So I really appreciate you doing that as we build this weather community. Now looking here we are in Belize back toward Roatan, just one example. Then I'll widen out, show you Guatemala, and then elsewhere through Central America, and of course through the Caribbean, up through parts of the U.S., but heavy rain, an additional 6 inches of rain possible in some spots over the next 3 days. So 150 millimeters to about 6 inches of rain. Heads up in Belize. We're going to see some flooding, especially central and southern sections, and then watching as well into Honduras. So there is Gabrielle. Here we are in the Caribbean. This is a tropical wave that will try to develop a little bit. Another one rolling off the coast of Africa. And then keeping an eye on this spot, I want to show you some of the rain that this will bring. Not really seeing development out of that, but I'll show you that as well in this video. Now, Gabrielle about to become a hurricane. Winds right now at about 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers an hour. Probably a little higher now that I've been just over the last couple hours. I've been seeing it kind of wrapping up, intensifying further. Very close to hurricane status. Still on track from what I was showing you yesterday and the last few days. The center should be about 130 miles or 210 kilometers off toward the east. Can that change some? Yes. If it slides a little bit more to the west, that could bring in some tropical storm conditions. But as of now, staying cautiously optimistic. So long that center passes this far off toward the east, we'd be okay in Bermuda. But with that said, we're still in monitor mode. If there's any big changes, I will let you know right away. Got you covered in Bermuda. Thank you for sharing this channel. So here's Bermuda, for example, and you can see just over the next 24 hours, this will start to really strengthen into a hurricane, and then it will eventually get caught up in the North Atlantic, all rolling around that area of high pressure, which I'll show you in just a moment. So Bermuda over here, almost all of the models take this right at Bermuda initially, but because of a front to the west, because of high pressure off toward the east, it will make that turn. It's just still a matter of how close, and that's what I'll be watching as we go out in time here. This is a day out, 2 days out in time, and you see just over the next day or two, this strengthens right into a Category 1 hurricane. You can see most of the bigger models right in through here. That yellow shading would be a Category 1 hurricane, and then eventually as it gets caught up in the North Atlantic, there'll be some gradual weakening as it goes from a tropical system to a subtropical system and runs into some of the cooler water up to the north. So here we are in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, east coast of the U.S., Atlantic region of Canada, not leaving anyone out. Watching Bermuda, watching this spot here, which is Gabrielle, and these over here, and also monitoring some development south of Mexico. I'll keep an eye on that on the eastern Pacific side as well. Got you covered. Now, as we work our way into Monday, you can see here's Bermuda right here. Almost all of the models have this off to the east, and this is the European model. It's the variation of the European models. Here's that area of high pressure, clockwise flow around it, so it kind of rotates around that. These fronts here along the east coast of the U.S., Atlantic region of Canada, acting like a barrier, so it has that window to make that turn right around that area of high pressure. Then, as we work our way into the middle of next week, this is by Wednesday, we'll keep an eye on this tropical wave. That's the one that's a little closer to Africa at this point, near Cabo Verde. With that said, most of what I'm seeing doesn't really develop it into anything crazy at this time, but I'm going to watch this as it just kind of rolls closer. There'll be another little spot back behind it. So we've got a long way to go in the hurricane season. As we know, we've had a lot of big storms into November the last few years, so we'll take it storm by storm as we go forward. Now, watching anything that moves our way toward the Caribbean and the Gulf, because the water is so warm Water temperatures have been near 30, 31 degrees Celsius, pushing 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's not just that, it's the ocean heat content. That is the absorbed energy, all the energy in the water. The water could hold all that kind of heat energy, if you will. It's not just warm at the surface, it is warm down below. A lot of times when a system passes over the water, it churns up cooler water. But in this case, because of these big pockets of heat content, high heat content, if something were to pass over this, it would just churn up more water, more fuel, and with that could rapidly intensify something. So that's what we're going to be watching as we get down the road in hurricane season, because if anything comes closer to us, it could get stronger, but not seeing signs of that right now. But watching Gabrielle feeding off of some of those warm waters. Here's Bermuda, here's one front, and then watching these tropical waves back behind it. Here's that little sneaky one right there that does have some rain with it that will start to approach. I'm going to zoom down in a moment. I'll lift up toward the U.S., Canada in a second, so hang with me. Keeping an eye on, again, here's Mexico, watching out for this area trying to develop. I'll keep an eye on the southern coast of Mexico. Here we go by Monday. There's Bermuda. Heaviest weather should be just off toward the east. This is the American model, but all the models showing roughly the same thing, just like we showed you yesterday. So watching this spot here, and there's that one near Cabo Verde that will continue to roll off toward the east. Now, west rather. Now, with that said, not seeing big development out of that. Just keeping an eye on this spot because it's a sneaky little area here just to see if it develops. This here is by Tuesday. There's the other area in the central Atlantic. And then as we go deeper into the upcoming week, we'll be watching both of these areas. So that first one may eventually give us more rain, again, back toward the U.S. and British Virgin Islands where we had flooding just a couple days ago. We'll watch out for that. So some increased rain in here, and then you can see here by Thursday, here's that wave that's near Africa right now. That one will start to approach us in the Eastern Caribbean. That's why I mentioned it's going to be a busy week ahead with at least some areas of rain, and then we'll monitor together any signs of development. And then just going out in time here, this is getting kind of deep out in time. This is next weekend into the following week. You can see a few things going on here. Watching a buildup of moisture around. We'll see some areas kind of lifting to the north, getting tied up into fronts, but more moisture moving in. A better chance of tropical waves moving off the Caribbean, and the American model, as are a couple other models, building up some rain in the Western Caribbean. So I mentioned we need to just keep a very close eye on what's going on close to home because those water temperatures are very warm. But we'll be covering that over the next few days as we watch these tropical waves headed toward the Caribbean. Watching out for big areas of rain. I mentioned don't lose sight on what's going on right now. Monitoring the mudslides, flooding Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, and still busy Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, but Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, again some thunderstorms. And like we had yesterday in parts of Jamaica, if you get one, it could be on the strong side. Spotty in nature, Barbados, St. Lucia, Trinidad. Not to say we can't get rain. We're going to see some areas of showers that will be possible. And then this here into Monday. And then there's that little sneaky area we'll be watching as we work our way into the week ahead. And there's some of the extra rain. South Florida, back through the Bahamas over toward Cuba, scattered about. But as we work our way into next week, we'll be watching these tropical waves that will be trying to move across. So at the least, we're going to track some areas of flooding. So here's one front kind of here, watching the Maritimes here. Here's Bermuda. There is Gabrielle. Scattered areas of rain anywhere from Canada as we work our way coming out of Manitoba, south through the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, spotty West Virginia, back through the Carolinas. This here is on Sunday afternoon. So tomorrow afternoon, you see a few areas of rain, but all eyes on Gabrielle just to make sure it takes that turn. I will be tracking that nonstop for you in Bermuda. Few areas of rain, watching that new spot that's rolling into British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest, and still some action near Southern California where there's been a lot of rain. I was highlighting that days and days ago. And then just getting deeper into the week ahead, this here is by Wednesday. There goes Gabrielle in the North Atlantic. So watching the Atlantic region of Canada, it'll stay to the south and east, but a big buildup of rain by the middle of the week as we work our way into parts of the United States, and some of these storms could be strong. So kind of giving you the heads up on that. We've got an active pattern north, south, back through the tropical Atlantic. Seas are obviously going to be huge. Closer to Gabrielle, here's Bermuda. Those swells will be working in, especially for tomorrow. Giant seas, but the Gulf and the Caribbean seas in decent shape. And then as we work our way to next week, we'll watch out for some elevated seas back through the Atlantic passageways as those new tropical waves start to move closer. So as far as the rain goes, it really just depends on if you get a thunderstorm. If you get a thunderstorm, gusty winds, and a quick 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain, up to about 4 inches of rain will be possible. So kind of South Florida, Bahamas south through Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, watching out for some spots of rain, Cayman Islands as well. Again, if we get some rain, be mindful of the possibility of flooding, watching that from Haiti, the DR, back through Puerto Rico. This here, not as widespread for us, but it doesn't mean we can't get some rain. We're just going to be busier next week. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Antigua, Barbuda. A lot of us already had some of the rain back through the Virgin Islands over the last few days. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Barbados. Spotty showers right down through Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago. Northern Suriname, a little better chance of getting some of the rain, not as much in Guyana. These are some of the bigger totals I was highlighting earlier. Mudslide threat in watching. Here's Mexico to the south, this tropical area here, monitoring to see how close some of that moisture could get, but some big rain totals. Watching not only the mudslide threat, but also those rivers. Here's western Mexico, but the Yucatan Peninsula, scattered areas of rain, and still watching, as I mentioned, the southwest parts of the U.S. over towards Southern California, some additional rain. This here would be more in the way of thunderstorm activity as you work your way back through Oklahoma, points off to the east. Not as much in Texas. So a 60% chance of rain and storms. Not all day, not for all of us in Jamaica, but like yesterday, if we get a storm, it could be a rocking 40 to 50% chance over the next 3 days in the Cayman Islands. 40% chance Trinidad and Tobago today, tomorrow, up to a 50% chance on Monday. 40% chance of some scattered showers today in Barbados, and a 30 to 40% chance right through the weekend in St. Lucia. Rain chance 30 to 40% in Grenada, and about a 40% chance the next couple days. I mentioned those passing showers, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Isolated shower possible in Martinique, isolated to scattered in Dominica. 30% chance for today, and a 40% chance for tomorrow. We do that again in Guadeloupe, even into Monday. Chance of some of those scattered showers. We lift to the north, Antigua, Barbuda. Rain chance not as high. Doesn't mean we can't get some rain or even a gusty storm, but Antigua, Barbuda, we work our way back towards St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat. Rain chance just not super high. Next week, we'll start to get a better chance deeper into next week. Anguilla and St. Bart's, 20 to 30% chance, 20 to 30% chance. St. Martin, Save and Statia, but it is higher back through Puerto Rico. That's where we could get some stronger thunderstorms, a 40% chance through the weekend. Spotty shower storm, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Scattered about, especially northern and central Bahamas. Scattered areas of rain, couple storms possible. 30 to 40% chance on the Turks and Caicos. And rain chance down a little bit, but still the possibility of some bigger storms, parts of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Watching those rivers that continue to just really gush, dangerously so. We'll be watching that over the next few. Belize, I mentioned the rain we already have, right? In some spots, I'll be watching our comments. Put your location, what you got going on. Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, rain chance not too high. 20, maybe a 30% chance, slight chance of a shower tonight as we work our way toward Curacao. Guyana, rain chance about 20%. It is a little higher, as I mentioned, northern Suriname up to about a 40% chance. Scattered thunderstorms, pretty equal chances, west, central, and east zones of Cuba. A 70% chance, Costa Rica, Panama. So not for all of us, but Costa Rica and Panama where we get the rain. Obviously still some problems. Same thing in Nicaragua. 50 to 60% chance, 50% chance, but where we get it in Honduras, it will be on the heavy side. Watching out for the flooding again. Guatemala and El Salvador stays active right through the weekend. We swing back through here, Mexico City, about a 40 to 50% chance of rain and a 50% chance of scattered areas of rain. Merida, Campeche, Cancun, Cozumel could get some showers and storms. Northern Colombia, 40 to 50% chance. A little bit more in northern Venezuela, and again in Bermuda, we're in monitor mode, not action mode. We're just watching things carefully together, and hopefully Gabrielle, which will be a hurricane, stays just to the east. At least those seas are going to be building up. So Gabrielle gets close to Bermuda. We'll be watching it. Tropical wave back behind it, multiple ones. We'll monitor for development at the least. Some of those areas of rain will be working in with more of an active finish to September and tracking those rivers and mudslides. And the next name on the list is Umberto. So thank you for sharing this channel with your community. Hope you're doing well. I'll see you in the comments. Have a good day ahead.